I'm trying to explain. The thing I'm getting to is simply the idea that the people who say that Ripple is somehow, your word, the devil, it's because we're partnering with the man. We decided if you want to enable an internet of value, you got to connect the repositories of value. And the repositories of value are the banks.
Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And today's video, you just might call an opinion piece. And well, why? Because I've got a couple of strong opinions. And I want to first start with explaining why I opened up with this short clip where Brad is with Michael Arrington in an interview about 6 years ago. And it's really twofold. First, how ironic is it that this 6 years later, Bitcoin maxis are nearly all standing there with open arms, embracing the banks for their beloved digital asset. Wow. And then the second reason is so many of you made a comment in my video yesterday how rude Arrington was. And yeah, if you've not seen this video, well, you'll understand that it is par for the course. And also, you're going to understand why they are friends. And I also want to address this comment from Dennis. He said that RippleNet a walled garden? Wrong, because I called it a walled garden. Well, okay, let me explain. While RippleNet, which includes ODL, does integrate with banks and payment providers globally, that's of course suggesting an open network in terms of connectivity. But the use of XRP for liquidity sourcing is a closed loop where value cycles through RippleNet's ecosystem involves participants on both ends of the transaction using Ripple Partner and services. So yeah, I guess technically it depends on what part of the payment services you're talking about. And so I'll give him that. Maybe it's safe to say that it's somewhere in the middle. But I will stick to my comment that JP Morgan Coin and its system for their cross-border transfer of value is fully a closed loop system. The annual report for the XRPL Commons is out. Lots of deep understanding can be found here about what and where Ripple, the company, is supporting. This group, located in Paris, will be a part of the new XRPL Foundation. It's a must-read if you're an XRP holder. And no, it's not technical. It doesn't go into some of the aspects of the ledger that people seem to not care about. It's more what they are leaning into. And something that's quite interesting is that they are in the process of launching a Futureverse, which is on the Root Network, validator. So again, if you're serious about XRP use cases and your favorite researcher, YouTuber, or X-poster is only talking about Ripple, well, I think you get my drift. There are 42 active validators in the network right now. Presently, I don't see any of the key opinion leaders or the YouTubers or the posters on the social media platforms looking in this direction. And it is really, truly where you should be following the efforts which are building out use cases for the digital asset XRP. Futureverse is all about the Web3 creator economy. And don't forget that term. I'm going to revisit that later in this video. The Root Network is a proof of stake blockchain, and you help secure that network by staking. And when doing so, you receive rewards. I stake Root, and this is a screenshot of where I can redeem my rewards. You can redeem anytime you want as you go, and you can see that the estimated redemption preview with what I've got that hasn't been redeemed as of right now is 2,399 root tokens and 11 XRP tokens. Now, shifting just a touch, but still very much related, I want to talk about the Web3 creator economy. It matters. And it matters because you've got Sui. Sui is a brand new layer 1 blockchain, and it's going to integrate with the XRP ledger. And we also know that from the live space with Jazzy Cooper that we're going to find the new stablecoin, the RLUSD, very soon on this new blockchain. Now, don't believe some YouTubers out there that do zero research and tell you that Sui is just another meme coin token platform. The Japanese Dentsu Group, which holds 800 plus companies, they have 71,000 employees. They're the 5th largest global ad agency in the world. They invested early in Mistin Labs. Mistin created Sui blockchain. This is an object-centric model on the Move programming language. Now, if that is like mumbo jumbo to you, what it means in simple language, it is the most incredibly easy platform to build on. The creator economy market size is expected to generate revenue of approximately $600 billion US by the end of 2036. To give you an idea of the opportunity here, the size at the end of 2023 was approximately $200 billion US. This project will be carried out in collaboration with Dentsu's research and development. I'm telling you, this is a serious blockchain. Now, after giving my opinion, I'm looking for your opinion. And it's about this XRPL Ambassador Program. They're inviting key opinion leaders, the KOLs, venture capitalists, VCs, community enthusiasts, and researchers to contribute to the growth of the XRPL ecosystem. There is an ambassador recruitment program with a $10,000 prize pool. So I'm very curious, what is your opinion about paying people to promote the XRP ledger? And now moving to some other subjects that have caught my eye. Atur did a poll. I think he took he asked 500 XRPL users who they preferred in terms of a candidate. And boy, has it gotten political out there, right? But I found this quite interesting. Donald Trump received 71.4% of the vote, neither 9.9%, Kamala Harris 9.3%, and those that answered not sure 9.3%. I just can tell you that I'll be so glad when this election is over. And you know I have contrarian views to a few things. One of them is about the de-dollarization. Well, JP Morgan on the 8th of October put out a new piece that I found interesting. So let me just read you the bottom line here. Overall, despite changes in cross-border flows and the rise in alternative financial architecture for global payments, de-dollarization risks appear exaggerated. But hang on there, because they do say that it's going to happen, but the diversification away from the dollar is a growing trend. But they find that the factors that support dollar dominance remain well entrenched and structural in nature. The dollar's role in global finance and its economic and financial stability implications are supported by deep and liquid capital markets, rule of law, and predictable legal systems committed to a free-floating regime. That free-floating is very important, by the way, because that's what currently China does not do. And then the smooth functioning of the financial system for USD liquidity and institutional transparency. All in all, meaningful erosion of dollar dominance is likely to take decades. And lastly, despite the migration of much of my audience going to X, my YouTube channel has reached a new milestone. And I do think that one might speculate that the platform that most fiercely champions free speech will prevail. I'll let Brad and Michael Arrington take you out on this video, And until next time, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
You have
Well-
TechCrunch branded water now?
We have TechCrunch branded water,
Come
yes.
a long way since your years.
Yes, quite a lot has changed.
Shit has changed since I was
There's
here. Yeah.
there's even coffee backstage. It's incredible. We're going to sort of set up the conversation a little bit. You know, when Satoshi Nakamoto invented Bitcoin during the last recession, he, she, or they, who knows who they were, imagined a completely decentralized world with the Bitcoin blockchain, but it required constant mining, obviously, to unearth its cryptocurrency. Now, Ripple, represented here by CEO Brad, is a real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network created by Ripple Labs, which is a fintech company. Now, it's built on a consensus ledger and the cryptocurrency known as XRP. So, hello. Now, when Ripple decided to pre-mine its XRP currency, it pre-mined it, okay? So it's already all mined. And then it instituted a handful of centralized nodes to create a highly scalable network. FinTech really needs scalability. However, here's what happened. All hell broke loose because crypto libertarians who believe in decentralization effectively thought this is a ridiculous idea. Then along comes Mr. Arrington, fresh from having leaving venture capital fund Crunch Fund, launched his own crypto fund, Arrington XRP, so named because the fund was built on XRP using Ripple, using XRP, and using Ripple to transfer money globally at speed between LPs, companies funding, etc. But the crypto libertarians to this day rail against Ripple and XRP and anyone who will deal with them, including Arrington XRP. So Brad, some of these crypto libertarians, some of them have actually literally called you the devil. Are you?
Lucifer.
Lucifer.
No, I'm not the devil.
Can you prove it?
Look, I think it's an interesting place to start, in part because I think there are a lot of religious zealots in the crypto space. And I think people believe things in a way that you would kind of describe as religious zealotry. You know, Ripple took a contrarian view pretty early in our evolution and said, look, if you want to really revolutionize the way payments work, if you really want to revolutionize the way transactions work in this regard, it's not going to happen by everybody giving up their existing infrastructure and just switching to something new. As much as I am actually a bull on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain is not, there's not going to be one ledger to rule them all. Ripple invented a series of technologies built upon the XRP ledger that allows institutions, banks, and even in some cases governments to take advantage of these technologies and dramatically accelerate the nature of transactions.
He's fully into talking points now.
Look, I'm trying to explain, the thing I'm getting to is simply the idea that the people who say that Ripple is somehow, your word, the devil, it's because we're partnering with the man. We decided if you want to enable an internet of value, you got to connect the repositories of value. And the repositories of value are the banks.
Why couldn't the banks have went for a more fully centralized network, though?
Well, to some degree, that's what they use today. I mean, cross-border payments today, which are slow and expensive.
Fully decentralized, I meant to say.
Well, the XRP ledger is fully decentralized. Ripple, the company, cannot control the XRP ledger.
Apart from the fact that you control a handful of nodes.
We control a handful of nodes. But I mean, we control, I think, something around 7% of all of the public nodes on the XRP ledger. So, I mean, in contrast, you have miners in China that control, north of, 3 miners control north of 50% of the Bitcoin blockchain. By any measure, the Bitcoin blockchain is more centralized than the XRP ledger.
Why did you pick XRP as for your fund?
Well, first of all, could I ask something?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just used to being...
I was worried there were going to be 2 interviewers in one.
Well, no, you could roll back transactions, right, on your ledger? Because you
Absolutely
control all
not.
the nodes, so...
This is one of the FUD kind of misinformation things that people say. Like, Ripple can block a transaction. Not true. Can we roll back a transaction? Not
You
true.
could, you just would never do that, right?
We actually can't.
Oh, I thought you could.
No.
Oh, I was hoping you could. All right, so I chose,
So is that going to affect your? How
Yeah, I was
you
under the
use it?
impression that we could know. So there's two answers, both partially true, as to why I went with XRP. The first answer that's partially true is when I decided to do a crypto fund, which was last year, after I made a couple of investments on my own and through Crunch Fund, I naturally went to Brad because we've become very good friends. Not everybody knows this, but TechCrunch was originally sold to AOL and eventually became part of the Verizon behemoth because of Brad. Because he was at AOL, it wouldn't have happened without him. He was the primary person that made that deal happen. Naturally, I'm his friend because he made me wealthy. Not as wealthy as him, but wealthy. And so, and I also like him as a human being. So I went to him
In that
because
order.
he was, yes, in that order. So when I went to him, he was the CEO of Ripple, and so I would talk to him about the fund. And true story, when Brad first joined Ripple, I told him it was the dumbest career move he'd ever made in a long string of bad career moves. And it turns out now he's the 5th richest person in California or something. But I went to him for advice, and he helped. He helped me raise the fund. Although Ripple isn't an LP, he helped me by introducing me to most of our large LPs that hold large amounts of XRP. The other answer, which is also true, is XRP is a fantastic currency to use for, among other things, hedge funds. We need to move a lot of money very quickly. We make investments all over the world. Our LPs come from all over the world. And using banks to move money is a pain in the ass. I mean, it takes a day or two to move money around the world. And with XRP, our very first close was 50 million. We moved that money in, and I'm not shitting you, in like 3 seconds. And I think it cost 20 or 30 cents. You really need to think about that.
But that's
And so it's fantastic to use it for that.
You're moving it using the Ripple protocol, but the problem is that
He used the
use
XRP
of-
ledger to do that.
He's using it. You're using the XRP ledger, but there's an issue here.
I didn't do
that-
anything. Somebody else did it. But
the-
I just know that the money moved in like that, like literally like that, and it cost nothing. And have you ever sent money in an international wire? I mean, it's a
Yes.
pain in the end. Then you got to call. Did you get it? And what? No, I didn't get. And it's truly revolutionary.
Well, I mean, you can use, there's lots of startups, TransferWise, etc., that will do that kind of thing. But obviously there are charges, and obviously larger amounts of.
You can't
Can
PayPal
I
$50
interject
million.
there? I think TransferWise is a fabulous company, and they've done some very clever things by hacking the existing system. What TransferWise does is optimize the existing infrastructure and, in effect, hack the system so that you have a better outcome. What Ripple is trying to do is say, look, can we reset the rail? TransferWise loves what we're doing because if we're successful, it makes their job actually easier. There's a lot of companies that spend a lot of time and energy, and TransferWise and Currency Cloud are examples, that are taking the existing system and saying, how can I put accounts all over the place, and I'm going to have my own, effectively, ledger within TransferWise to debit and credit so I can make funds available more quickly than otherwise would be the case.
But one of the issues, let's be honest, is that you've come up with a fantastic ability to move money around the planet, but there's also this issue of XRP, the currency, which prices are crashing all over the place. You're trying to get banks to use the actual currency. That some of them are using the Ripple protocol, but they're not using XRP, are they? So how do you address that? In a way, you pre-mined all this currency, made a heck of a lot of money. Let's talk about that. But then now you're trying to get people to use XRP. You're getting Madonna to talk about XRP. You're talking or Ripple, getting Ashton Kutcher to talk about it. I mean, these aren't necessarily the people who staid bankers normally listen to.
Did you have to pay Madonna? I don't know about that.
So a whole bunch of things got conflated in there. So
How do you get
let's
Madonna?
parse that apart. First of all, I actually
Can we
would
please
even
talk about the Madonna?
argue,
Just for 1 second. How does that happen? Is it like the agent, you guys shared a private jet? Like, how do you get
I was
Madonna
trying to answer the question about what's happening with crypto crashes.
Yeah,
Madonna-
Ellen
look,
DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres.
Ripple has been very proactive as a company, both its leadership team as well as the company, in being philanthropic. We have supported, we gave
That's no
$29
joke.
million to Donors Choose, which funded by the way, if you don't know Donors Choose, it is one of the most incredible organizations I've ever seen that
But
allows.
that's because you had all this crypto left over when you mined it.
Like, I think as a general statement, Silicon Valley
Google
doesn't do
didn't-
enough to give back.
Google didn't fund Donors Choose. Lots of companies in Silicon Valley have a lot of money. I mean, that was a true act
I mean,
of
look,
generosity.
I've never been, we may be accused of being the devil in terms of how we have partnered with the system. I've never been accused of being the devil for, being philanthropic and supporting causes that are actually good for the planet.
Fair comment.
To speak to that,
But what about answering the question about?
I was trying to answer the question. You want to talk about Madonna? You were talking about the crypto crash. First
Yeah.
of all, let's level set. 18 months ago, the entire crypto market was worth $20 billion. Today, it's worth $230 billion. Now, granted, in between, it hit about 850 billion, so it's crashed from 850. By any normal measure, if we drew a straight line from 18 months ago to today, you'd say it's been a huge bull market. I also point out, like, there have been, over the last 5 or 6 years, multiple, quote, crashes that have been effectively reconsolidation, and we've seen as utility and problems are solved with these technologies, you're going to see a separation, I think, between those that are purely speculative and those that are actually solving real utility, solving real problems in the marketplace.
Which one are you?
Well, I mean, we've already talked about your own experience of using XRP and using Ripple's technologies to solve real problems.
Which ones are the ones that are a joke in the top 10?
I'm not going there.
Why?
Look, the other thing you talked
Why?
about.
Yeah, what
some
about
of-
EOS?
Why?
What about EOS?
Let's talk
or,
about EOS. Is
NEO?
I will say right now, EOS is a huge pile of shit. Do
You know what?
agree?
I will say, one of the projects
You
that
think
I
EOS is a
personally-
huge pile of shit?
I think that these projects that come out and raise a lot of money, in some cases billions of dollars, are they don't need that much money. And so I always think it's odd. And I think that if you look back at the history of Silicon Valley, there are, as far as I know, 0 examples of companies that have raised massive amounts of funding before they launch a product and being successful. If there's examples, I can't think of them.
Did Ripple donate? Is Ripple an LP in your fund in Arrington XRP?
No.
Did they give you XRP to help start the fund?
Well, no. I mean, you're saying like they're not an investor. Do they just give me a bunch of free XRP? It's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I think it's like a marketing expense. It'd be like
No.
how
I
much did Madonna get?
How did much? Yeah, right. So that is marketing.
You
but
are
then
not Madonna.
You're one of the
No.
biggest voices in
that's just-
investing.
We're not a charity.
That's just be.
You're
Is
what-
Madonna? Can I just say?
We didn't give money to Madonna. We gave money to a philanthropic effort around, that Madonna was a champion
There
of.
you go. Okay.
and
gave to her
Ashton
foundation.
Kutcher.
No,
Didn't he? Wasn't he?
he was the delivery. I mean, he and Madonna are friends, and so he has been active in that. But no,
Okay.
I mean,
What is it? Why? By the way, what is it with these XRP fanboys on Twitter? You've got you've
fangirls.
got a follower called XRP Trump on Twitter. You've got
I like that guy.
a woman called Tiffany Hayden who basically just goes XRP is
fantastic.
amazing all the time.
She's fantastic.
What's going on? Are
No,
you
she-
paying them to shill?
No,
XRP?
That's a little rude. That's a little rude to accuse him of paying.
Well, it's just a question.
it's a fair question. We do not pay. I mean,
I mean, it might be a marketing expense.
We have a lot of advocates.
You don't pay them, do you?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he does.
Why do you think are they just trying to boost the currency?
I
they
mean,
re-
no,
wait,
I
look,
think
can I-
most of what they're doing is correcting the record. They're going out and saying, look, somebody says something, frankly, similar to what you said, which is
Yeah.
the XRP ledger is centralized.
Yeah.
It's factually not true.
Okay, let me say something. So this goes to is he the devil as well? So
Sure.
there's
We haven't. You need to come back to that. Yeah.
there. I mean, look, one of the most interesting books I've ever read is Guns, Germs, and Steel, and I'm sure many of people in this room have read it. And we naturally are tribal, and we form teams. And when you add steroids to that in the form of money, you've got a situation where you have what from the outside looks crazy of everybody forming up in these teams. And I have been sort of de facto named to the XRP team, even though we hold a very small amount of XRP today because our LPs actually want us to diversify. But I'm just sort of I'm sort of named part of that team. And you've got the fanboys for everybody, and they're all the same. I mean, they really are. The fanboys for Bitcoin and the fanboys for XRP are literally the same. I mean, and they're saying almost the same things. And it's just sort of creepy and weird. But some of these people, and some of the ones you named, aren't creepy and weird. They're actually like enthusiasts who've changed their lives and the lives of their family. I mean, you mentioned Tiffany. She's like a single mom who has helped raise her children because of her investments in cryptocurrency. That's not a joke. I mean, that's a real thing. And
Yeah, fair
so-
comment. That's fair comment. What about, I mean, one of your views also, your criticisms of Ethereum is that, I mean, it's got a big developer network and you're trying to boost the amount of developers using XRP with Xspring, this project called Spring or
yep.
Xspring. It's spelled with an X, but it's called Spring, which you're trying to get developers onto it. It's a bit like Microsoft trying to get developers to develop apps in a way, isn't it? You're trying to boost the market. Do you think?
Well, I mean, look, I think there's lots of people that invest in developer ecosystems.
Yeah.
You know, the observation I'd make about the Ethereum ecosystem today is there's a lot of experimentation. There is not a lot of successful deployed, we're solving a real problem.
What's your view about Ethereum? What's your general view?
There's a lot of interesting experiments going on.
Do you
And
own
I'll be
any
interested.
Ether?
I don't own any Ether.
But you do Bitcoin.
I do. So look, I think one of the mistakes, and Mike likes to make fun of me for lots of things, but one of the things he was talking about backstage is years ago I wrote this thing called the Peanut Butter Manifesto. It was a long time ago, and the thesis was that Yahoo, where I worked at the time, was spreading itself too thin. It was trying to do too many things, serving too many masters, as opposed to really specializing and being the best in the world at something. And I think in many ways what's going on in the crypto land is similar. You have, Ripple has very specifically decided to go very deep in a particular vertical with a clear customer, a clear value proposition, and solving a clear problem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these things. I mean, look, you know, you read these things. I was meeting with some of the IBM team, and they were talking about using a blockchain to track flower freshness. I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I think a database.
might be an investor.
More often than not, a database is going to be more efficient than a blockchain, and people use words like blockchain and crypto as catnip for the investors that were up here before us.
That's true.
There's, do you feel that Ripple will try and replace SWIFT in the banking system? Is that? one
I
of
hope
the
it
aims?
does.
Well, look,
Something has to improve upon Swift. Swift is, it's like we never even got email, right? I mean, it's like we're still using snail mail for everything, and something has to give in that.
I mean, we're going to have
Sorry, I'm
the
sorry, was
SEC,
that- yeah.
by the way, at some point. I mean, what would happen, do you think, if the SEC decided to declare XRP a security?
well, look, first to answer that, we got to make sure we understand what is a security, right? A security is something that represents ownership in a company. It gives you rights to dividends, give you rights to governance, things like that. XRP and Ripple are two separate things. We have shareholders in Ripple, the company. We have investors that include Google Ventures. We have banks that have invested. They own shares of Ripple, the company. When you buy XRP, that doesn't give you any rights to the profits or ownership of Ripple, the company. The other thing that's important to understand
So
is,
do you think that's going to, that'll,
like, again, I
that's
think
an
there's
air
a lot-
gap between you and the SEC?
There's multiple air gaps. The amount of misinformation on this one, I think, is also profound. If Ripple, the company, I mean, we have joked, we had an all hands about a couple months ago, and you know, some people didn't think it was very funny, but we pointed out that if Ripple, the company, shut down tomorrow, the XRP ledger would continue to operate. So if XRP is a security, it's a security of what? Now, one of the other things that people talk about is information asymmetry, that if a company has information that could influence the price, then maybe that is more like a security. I mean, the irony there is one of the major drivers of inflection of the price of XRP is Coinbase. The rumors about, is Coinbase going to list XRP or not? So does that mean XRP is a security of Coinbase or of Ripple? So look, I think the facts are pretty clear that XRP is not a security, and I think that, you know, as time goes by, that'll become clearer. So I don't spend a lot of time worrying about that.
You seem pretty relaxed about it.
I actually am pretty relaxed about it, because I think the facts are on our side.
Mike, you've been doing a ton of traveling as an investor.
Yeah.
Now you've famously said that you're devoting the next 10 years or so to crypto and
Yeah.
blockchain instead of, you know, the old traditional VC model
Yeah.
from Crunch Fund. You know, Israel, Singapore, Europe. Do you think the SEC is eventually going to start to regulate this, or
I don't
what's
know.
your view about how the position they're taking? Have they talked to you, perhaps?
Oh, fucking SEC. So first of all, yeah, I got a letter. I invested in a company as a private person last year, not as a fund, and they sent me a subpoena, and it was like literally accusing me of crimes because the CEO of the company had once spoken at a TechCrunch conference years after I left TechCrunch, and like some quid pro quo, and like it was like they're actually making like criminal, and my lawyer had to deal with it. I ended up spending about $30,000 getting him to fuck off. And like, so first of all, I'm a libertarian. I don't like the government in general, but the SEC, forgetting my personal issues with them because it was just money, I'm actually like irate because the SEC is single-handedly fucking this industry in the US. And so we have a few good US investments. Proppy's one, I'm wearing their t-shirt. Another one is Reserve, a company in Oakland, and a couple of others. But 80 to 90% of our investments are in Asia, Europe, and Israel right now, because there are actually countries where there's enough regulatory certainty that that entrepreneurs feel safe starting token companies there, blockchain companies there. Here they don't. There's so much regulatory uncertainty, and then add to that the tax burden and the visa burdens of coming here, and then our current federal government's stance on immigration in general. They're just saying fuck it, and they're staying in Singapore or Israel or Europe instead of coming here and starting companies. It is the SEC needs to get their act together, because if they had done that with the internet in 94, 95, TechCrunch and none of us would be here. We'd all be living in Shanghai or somewhere else, wherever managed to get their act together. So when the SEC person comes on stage, first of all, I'd kick them out of the conference. But if they actually come up on stage, I'd ask them, like, do you realize you're single-handedly wrecking the next stage of technology development, and how do you feel about that? And see what she says. So, yeah.
Well,
So I have somewhat.
we'll ask.
But
shall
I
we?
think Mike feels strongly about that one.
I really feel like fairly strongly about that.
Look, I will. Mike and I agree on some of that. We actually disagree on some of it, and he and I have talked about this.
Well, you're a Trump supporter, right? So that's probably the big
Listen, in
difference.
California, you can get
Would
shot
you like
for saying things
would
like
you like to confirm or deny?
Look, the thing I would say.
You look like
Oh,
a Republican, right? You just look. Actually, I know you don't like Trump. Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Look, on the topic of the SEC, the one thing I will say is there are unequivocally bad actors in the ICO ecosystem. There have been frauds, there have been massive scams. Hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars have been heisted. And if anything, I'm surprised the SEC hasn't been more aggressive going after some of those bad actors.
Like who?
Now, that doesn't take away
Why-
from Mike's
what
point
is the
that
hesitation of naming them?
The clarity would be very helpful, and I agree with him that there is a risk that a lot of this development ends up non-US, and the impact on the United States economy for having the internet that we think of today being very US-centric in many ways has been very, very positive to the United States. I'll talk positively about some. There's a project that I find very interesting called Augur. I'm very interested in what's going to happen there. I'm intrigued.
Do you like Trump because he's about tearing up all the regulation?
Look, Ripple as a company wants to work with regulators around the
yes
world.
or no?
No, it's when he's going to talking points. He's like, no, not going to answer that question.
My public donations to political figures is documented on the internet.
Fair comment. Well, unfortunately, I don't have access, so we'll have to check.
Somebody can Google it.
Michael, finally, you famously moved from Crunch. You founded TechCrunch. Heavens above. Thank you, by the way.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
hiring me.
And you are the oldest.
I am about 3,000 years old. Yes.
I didn't mean how old you are. You actually have been here longer than any. You're actually one of only a couple people who were here when I was here.
A couple of people left of us. Yes, still going.
Yeah.
Completely.
Drove the rest of
We
it.
love it.
It's good that there's still a couple people here,
We love what we do.
because now there's so many of you,
There's a lot of us.
and I don't even know. Like,
There's a question in here somewhere.
You left TechCrunch, you founded Crunch Fund famously. I remember the Unplayed Blogger T-shirts, and you founded Crunch Fund, and last year you founded Arrington XRP, really all boots into crypto. But I mean, how's that relationship with Crunch Fund now? Did you leave on good terms? Any bad blood?
oh yeah, no, everything's fine. I just think that I wanted to do crypto. My partner didn't as much, and I believed in this, obviously. It wasn't just that I believe in crypto. It's also I'm a little tired of the VC game. It's very different. It's all new players in crypto. It's younger, fresher, more interesting, people from all over the world. The VC game has gotten very, very tiring to me. Also, and I could go into that, but I won't. But also, crypto moves much more quickly. Those of you in the audience, who in here considers themselves a crypto person? So you, actually more than I thought, like the crypto world moves like significantly faster than the normal tech world, which already moves quickly. But a few months feels like a year or two in crypto. And I actually like that. I think it's keeping me young, it's keeping me excited, and it's just a lot more fun. So, yeah.
So Brad, finally, are you actually the richest person in California now?
I have no idea even how to start answering that question.
It's a very rude question.
I apologize. Well, I shall leave it there then.
I think Larry Ellison, I think he must win that. I think Larry or Sergey or the two Larrys, Larry Page.
They're probably the ones. Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Guys,
Thank
thanks
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.